It was a bright, cold spring morning. The journey from our house in the country had taken nearly 2 hours. It was one of our occasional non-business visits to London. I had, among other things, to see my dressmaker, Anthony. Bill had, among other things, decided to buy a pine writing desk to put in an old caravan that we have in the garden.
Don't buy anything.
Ooh, dream of it.
Just a minute. I got something very interesting to show you. In the back room. Downstairs. You are Bill Travers, aren't you?
Yeah.
John, give us a hand. I think it's jammed.
Yeah.
Get on.
Bill isn't back yet.
Where did you say he was going?
You said something about buying a desk.
Oh, desk. Oh, that'll be in the furniture shop over on the corner there.
That's a big one. Yes.
Hey, we better watch out for the crockery now. No, he's all right. He's pretty careful. Oh, they don't mind. Oh, it's great.
The young lamb, we discovered, belonged to Ace and John, 2 Australians who worked at the shop. They'd been keeping him there for the past 4 months. It seems they bought him, when quite small, from a big department store in London's expensive Knightsbridge area that sells everything and anything. It was Christmas time. One of the novelty attractions was a lion cub. Price? £250, $600. Somehow, Ace and John raised the money. It wasn't easy, but it was too much to see this little cub in a very small cage at Christmas. An impulse buy, but for them there was no alternative. They named him Christian. Neither knew what looking after a lion cub meant. They soon found out. Little lambs need love and affection and constant attention, company, and they eat a lot of meat. Their immediate problem, however, became, as he grew larger and stronger, a question of exercise. Where in the world's end, where in London, can you find a green field that's completely enclosed, where no people walk, where no children play?
The church came to the rescue. A kindly vicar helped. Every morning very early, or at least before the toast and marmalade was off the table, Christian was escorted to his blue limousine, the furniture van, and chauffeured down the King's Road. Eventually he arrived, some 10 minutes later, at a quiet cloister that once belonged to the Church of St. Thomas More, an ancient burial ground. Everyone, including the vicar who supervised or refereed from a suitable distance, or so he thought, knew it could only be a very temporary solution. There was no doubt St. John had a problem that was growing every day, but for the time being, it at least meant Christian could release some of his boundless energy.
To follow up the faint possibility of returning Christian to Africa, Bill had already made a flying visit to Kenya to ask the government if, in these troubled times, they would make a gesture. If they would take back into their country for rehabilitation something that was inherently African. A British-born lion that we felt belonged in Africa and should be freed there. After all, Christian's ancestors had no more asked to come to England than Africans had volunteered for slavery in America. As we travelled home with Christian, I hoped it wouldn't be too long before we heard the outcome of Bill's talks with the Kenyan government. While he was there, he'd spoken to our friend, George Adamson, who over the years had successfully rehabilitated Elsa, and later on some of our born-free lambs. George said he would be willing to help if we were fortunate enough to get permission to give Christian his liberty. We had arranged that the children and dogs would all be indoors. We didn't want any accidents. In these new surroundings, we felt sure Christian wouldn't leave Ace and John. I found it quite strange, walking down a familiar path, as I've done so many times with the dogs, only this time with a young lion. He was so undisturbed by it all, I could hardly believe it. That is, until he saw our scarecrow. But he didn't fall for that one for more than a second.